Welcome back to the Roundball Mining Company Denver Nuggets Film Room. We're going to continue our coverage of the first round series between the Denver Nuggets and New Orleans Hornets. And today we're going to look at the Denver Nuggets pick and roll defense from the first game. We're going to take a look at some clips to show what they did right, and then a few after that to see if we can plug some of the holes there to make sure that their defense can become even stronger and make things even more difficult on the New Orleans Hornets. Like I said, our first three clips are going to look at the way the Denver Nuggets defended the pick and roll and what they did well. Here is the first clip, obviously, and you're going to see what the Nuggets' primary pick and roll defense was against Chris Paul. They really brought the bigs up to the free throw line and just tried to shield Paul off so that he couldn't get in the lane. Here he's going to dribble into traffic and lose the ball, and that was the basic premise of the Nuggets' defense. They did do some trapping, which we'll look at here in a second, but primarily they just wanted to shield off the paint and make sure that Chris Paul couldn't get into the lane. Here, once again, you're going to see another pick and roll. He gets the ball back, and he tries to get into the middle of the floor, and there's going to be a horde of Nuggets there waiting. And not only did the Nuggets cover the pick and roll, but they rotated well. Melo was in the right spot, but gave up baseline, which was not good, but Anderson was there to bail him out with a block, as he's known to do. And here we're going to take a look at one of the situations where the Nuggets actually trapped. You're going to see Nene come off, and Chris Paul is going to have he's going to be pushed away from the rim, and the Nuggets rotate very well. They cover the roller in the middle of the lane, and they also get out to contest the three-pointer, and that was a very good defensive possession for the Nuggets. Now, as well as the Nuggets played on their pick-and-roll defense, there were certainly some holes that could be exploited, and here you're going to see, once again, the Nuggets are trying to wall off the paint, but they collapse so far on Chris Paul, they leave David West wide open, and West missed almost, I think he only made one shot on a kick out or pick and pop from Chris Paul, but he is going to make those shots more often than not, and the Nuggets need to be able to defend that. Here's the primary issue, though, with the kind of defense the Nuggets played. When Paul would go baseline and dribble through the lane, the big men wouldn't really be able to decide who should guard him. They kind of passed off to one another, and the result was he was a lot of times he was wide open in the lane, and that was the worst thing that you can have happen with Chris Paul, and that is not what this defense is designed to do. This next clip is going to show almost perfect defense, but I kind of had to include it just because of the mistake that Carmelo makes. And one of the things, the keys to team defense is you have to be able to trust your teammates to know that they're going to do their job and when you're doing your job. And you're going to see the Nuggets defend the pick and roll pretty well. Paul has nowhere to go, so he swings the ball, and they reverse it over the weak side. Carmelo closes out on Rasul Butler, but instead of staying with him and trusting Nene to get Peja, he runs at Peja, and that leaves Butler wide open. And fortunately, Butler misses the shot, but Carmelo has to trust his teammates and know that Nene is going to make that last rotation. There's a couple issues that crop up in this next clip, and one is a result of their kind of shield defense they're trying to play where the big men have to help out on Chris Paul. Here you're going to see Anthony Carter does not return back to Paul, and Chris Birdman Anderson gets stuck guarding him. And really that creates a mismatch and basically is a switch, which we don't like to see. And then they have to help out on David West, and that means a rotation. Both Birdman and Melo go to Chris Paul, which leaves Peja open from the corner. And that was a poor job of a recovery by Anthony Carter and then of the rotating by the rest of the team. Now in this clip, the Hornets are able to get a dunk from Sean Marks, of all people. And I don't know if the Nuggets were relaxing mentally because Tyson Chandler wasn't the one setting the screen here, but you're going to see Marks sets the screen, and Nate comes out and helps, but doesn't fully recover, and he has to still help on the penetration. That leaves Marks open. No one came over in the lane to help out either, and Marks gets an easy dunk. I generally try to stay away from plays where the mistakes pointed out on the TV broadcast, but I need to remember that not everyone gets the altitude broadcast, and I don't know if they pointed this out on TNT or not. But on this play, you're going to see Melo ends up switching off with Nene here, and Nene's stuck guarding Peja. And Melo needs to be ready to come out and help on Peja, especially on the screen, knowing Nene has responsibilities to help cover Chris Paul. Melo is standing down at the free throw line and should have been preparing to go out and guard Peja, and he wasn't, and the result was an open three. And Peja actually made 3 of his 6 3-pointers, and the Nuggets need to do a better job of rotating and closing out on him. Now this next clip is asking a lot, but I think this is a problem that the Hornets can exploit in Game 2 and beyond, and that's you're going to see the Nuggets do a very good job on the first pick and roll. Nene's in good position, and Kenyon's able to recover and block off the drive by West. Then they go immediately back into a second screen and roll. Kenyon's out of position. He should be high, ready to defend the free throw line, with Nene coming over along the baseline to help against the drive there. They were out of position and weren't able to guard the second pick and roll, and because of that, Chris Paul had an easy shot, but it was fouled by Dante Jones. So there you have it. The Nuggets actually were not as aggressive defending the pick and roll as I expected them to heading into Game 1. They really they showed on the other side of the screen to keep Chris Paul from having a free lane to the basket, but really they played much more of a contained defense than an aggressive trapping one. They did some trapping, but really for the most of the game they played that kind of laid back, contained defense, and it would have been interesting to see which scheme they would have implemented had the game been close coming down the stretch. But I guess we hopefully will not have to worry about that in this series, but I'm sure we will at some point. Sure appreciate you checking out this edition of the Roundball Mining Company Denver Nuggets Film Room. I encourage you to check out our blog at roundballminingcompany.com, a member of the ESPN True Hoop blog network.